Today's episode is brought to you by Maddox's new book, Fuck Whales, Petty Essays from a Brilliant Mind. Order now at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, or anywhere books are sold.
Welcome to the best debate in the universe. Every debate in the universe, from bioethics to hipster aesthetics. With over 2.5 million downloads, I'm your host, Maddox. With me is the Sergeant of Swag, Mikey Bolts.
Hello, Maddox.
Audio engineer. And as always, the Maharaja of Moderation, Rucka Ali.
That's right.
Welcome back to the show. Guys, we've got an exciting debate today. One that I don't think many people have really considered. It's one worth debating, though. It's whether or not you should bring a date to company parties, especially holiday parties, since we have some holidays coming up. But I want to mention later on in the show, we'll be doing a recap of last week's debate. We have some voicemail. We have a fan gift that someone sent in. And we'll have some quick news headlines at the end of the show that Mikey brought in. But first, I want to introduce our guests this week. Please welcome back Dreadmere. Dreadmere, welcome back to the show.
Hey, what's up? Back again. Thanks.
Yeah, man. So it's been a while. Last time you were on, we debated...
worst sex position? Or most overrated sex position?
Most overrated sex positions. And your position was what?
Cowgirl.
Cowgirl.
Yeah.
And, which I think our audience did not vote for. Mine was blowjobs, and Rucka...
Oh, anal.
Anal.
Yeah, of course, the sick, perverted audience probably voted against me.
No, you were. I think you were voted against. And it's not a perverted... It's just a thing that people do.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm not judging.
Whatever. Yeah. Well, it has nothing to do with the debate this week, which is whether or not you should bring a date to holiday parties. Now's your chance to vote on madcastmedia.com. You can vote before listening to the debate. You can vote after as well. But first, let's hear everyone's buzzers. Rucka, let's hear yours. There it is. Dreadmere. And Mikey Bolts.
Trigger.
And here's mine. If you hear a buzzer from any of these fine gentlemen, that means somebody disagreed with someone else, wants to interject. Rucka is the Maharaja of Moderation. His job is to keep the debate on track. Mm-hmm. But Dreadmere, as our guest this week, I want to give you the first stab at the debate. Should you bring dates to holiday parties? Why or why not?
I'm going to say, yeah, fuck it. You should bring your date, for sure.
Oh, you should?
Yeah, even if you're together for a couple months, whatever, you just met a couple weeks ago, I think you should bring her or him.
Wow. Right out the gates. Wrong. Wrong answer, because I'm going to disagree with that. I think it's a bad idea. Why do you think it's a good idea to bring your dates?
I mean, if it's a family gathering or something like it's Thanksgiving or Christmas or whatever, like you should bring your date because it's going to mean a lot to them, obviously, but your family's mostly going to be supportive if you have a cool family. Like, even if they're like, oh, she's going to ruin the pictures because she's in it. Like,
yeah, Maddox, if you have a cool family, it should all go well.
Yeah, and what if you don't, Dreadmere? What if your family sucks?
Yeah. And he's asking for a friend.
Yeah, for a friend named me. What have you?
Now I'm really curious, like, to hear more about why you disagree.
Yeah, so many reasons. First of all, are we talking about family parties or company parties or both?
I mean,
it was you were the one who framed the debate.
Yeah, but you started out the gates with family parties, which are a totally different beast.
Yeah, good point. You said company parties.
Company parties, yeah.
Was that the debate? Company parties?
You know what? We can include family parties as well because it's
so holiday parties.
Holiday parties, yes.
All right.
Okay, I mean, I was thinking mostly family, but I guess, yeah, company ones could be, too.
Well, the company is your professional family.
Sure, yeah.
Mm-hmm. See,
I don't see it as being as awkward. Like, if you bring a date to your company party and then you guys break up or whatever, you're gonna be at the water cooler the next day and your friends are gonna be like, "Oh, what happened to?"
Yes, really? That's exactly what's going to happen.
You think a company party is more awkward to bring a date to? To me, it's like, who cares? They see you bring some girl, you break up, they never see her again.
Right,
your family, that's personal.
No, that's my point. Yeah, sorry, that's what I meant is that, yeah, at a company party, who cares?
Right.
Your coworkers aren't going to care if you break up with your whoever you brought.
Of course they care. That's where they'll gossip the most. I mean, yeah, your family's going to gossip, but it's all fucking family, and they talk about your shit all the time. They know more about you than anyone.
Nothing you just said made any sense.
Of course it
You just made it up as you were going, like word by word. None of that had any semblance of coherence.
Why not? Why?
You just argued, no, your family doesn't care. It's like, what?
Your family? No, I'm saying your coworkers would care more about who you're dating than your family. I know your family has a vested interest in you as a person, but your coworkers are going to fucking gossip like shit. Hey, what happened to that chick you brought to the date? Oh, she was just like some
I would
chick
be more likely to bring girls that I don't like to company parties just to show off that I'm crushing it.
There you go.
So even if they don't like her, they gossip.
No, listen. Okay, now I need to fucking join in.
Okay.
All right?
All right.
With your coworkers, you want to look cool.
Right.
Do you?
Yeah,
Why
they
wouldn't you?
see you every day. They probably wonder, does he have a life outside of here? Does he not? You bring a date. They're like, oh, this guy dates. Your family, they know you're a fucking loser regardless.
Rucka, my coworkers don't need to see my date to know I'm killing it. They could just take one look at me and know I'm doing just fine in life.
This is the most ridiculous, arbitrary argument. You keep reinventing the circumstances. Who are these coworkers? Who is this family? You're just making up all these fucking details and changing them to suit your needs. The question is holiday parties.
Yes.
That all family. This is not family versus company party. This is just holiday parties. Should you bring a date? He says yes.
Bad idea.
You say no. Why not?
No, it makes people pry into your life. It gives people a little bit more information about who you are outside of work. It's a bad idea.
Good.
Mike,
I want people to know who I am.
You want people to know who you are?
He's got nothing to hide.
Great. It's not about anything to hide. It's about giving an air of professionalism. What if you're super into just like weirdos, right? What if the people you date are weirdos? Suddenly you bring your date to the company party and guess what? Hey, everyone, I'm making a statement. And then people will never look at you the same. And here's the thing. Some of the people you date are short-term, right? Who here has a crazy ex-girlfriend?
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, I see everyone's hand going up except for Rucka. Rucka is the crazy
I'm not going on record saying anything.
Okay, fine. Look, if you have a crazy ex-girlfriend, especially a temporary one, right? One that's just a short-term girlfriend, you bring her over to your house, she knows where your parents live. That's fucking scary. You got this fucking psycho who's on your case who now knows intimate details about where you grew up, your family. You've suddenly opened up a whole can of worms. Dreadmere, how can you disagree with that?
Because I think having a crazy girlfriend is not such a bad thing. I think when people see it from the outside, it's
Yeah.
Dude, it's like, dude, this girl's so into this guy.
Yeah.
Like, this guy must be like dynamite in the sack. This guy must have the most charisma. Like, I would have never thought, and now everybody thinks you're cool.
No, nobody thinks
They
that.
don't think
Dreadmere.
you're cool?
No, it's not that. No, it's not that
people
they
don't
think you're
think you're
cool.
cool?
Maddox, if some girl just came
Everyone thinks I'm
knocking
cool.
on your door right now and was like, "Where's Drew? I haven't talked to him in 5 days." Like, what the fuck? Like, where's Drew? I need to talk to him. Like, you would think, like, damn, this guy's like,
I'd be like, damn, this guy cannot detect mental instability and
so
mental and emotional.
responsible.
Yeah,
Yeah,
see a hot chick. Oh, sorry. Like, you're just gonna say no.
I have, and I do all the time.
Every day.
Yeah, every day. Yeah, I was at a club one time with this guy who was a male model, and he looked it. Every time we stepped out of the house, girls were hitting on him. One of my neighbors invited him over just for casual sex. Like, I'd never seen anything like this. It was crazy. So we go to this club or whatever, and there's like two girls flirting with him, and one of them seemed just like a total dipshit. And he was talking to her, and then he was more interested in this other girl. He goes, "Yo, dude, you take this one home and, have fun and whatever." I'm like, I'm not doing shit because she's a moron. And she was like this big boobed girl and just dumb as bricks, super annoying, had a very high pitched kind of voice. And I'm like, I'm not going to do it because I know how that story's going to end. It's going to end with her knocking on my door asking for you, Dreadmere.
Wow. But you get laid somewhere in the middle of that story.
Getting laid isn't hard, bro. It's like 2017. There's like a fucking 50 apps on everyone's phone that you can use to just dial booty. It's everywhere.
Is that the new app?
It's everywhere. What?
So, is this a debate over crazy ex-stalkers? Like, what are we talking about? Should you take a date
Yes.
to a holiday party?
Yes. Should you take a date to a holiday party? No, bad idea, especially with family. Because then if you're bringing in too many, if you have a train of women or men that you're dating bringing into the house, what are your parents going to think of you? It's going to, you know what? It's going to invite more phone calls from your mom. They're going to be thinking about you having sex and whether or not you're using protection. That's what parents do. They think about you using protection. Do you want to put that thought into your parents' head?
That thought just came into my head right now for the first time ever, so I don't.
Yeah, because you're not a parent, Dreadmere.
Yeah, you'll understand someday.
You'll understand.
Like Maddox. Okay, listen,
Yes.
What is this debate about? Is this about taking a date to a holiday party?
Well, here's something I don't understand. I wanted to bring a date to a wedding, multiple weddings. I've wanted to bring dates, like just casual girls I was dating. And every single time I've been told no. I don't see what the big deal is.
Really?
I don't know. Yeah. Why is that a big deal to bring a date to a wedding?
I thought you're supposed to.
You're arguing my side?
I know, but I'll tell you why the argument that I heard that they were saying you shouldn't.
Okay.
And it's because they say, oh, well, it's an intimate affair with friends and family, and we don't want like weird strangers there. It's just if somebody you've been dating for a long time, then you can bring them to a wedding. Otherwise, it's not, it's not something.
Such a fascist argument. You just want to put all these regulations on people. Maybe you can bring them this and that. Like, why can't we all just hang out and have fun? Who cares? She might be crazy. She might be hot. She might be whatever. Like, fuck it, dude. Like, it's more fun for me, I think. I think the reason I take this position is because I felt bad in high school when this girl wanted to come to like my Thanksgiving thing.
Yeah.
And she was so excited. I was like, yeah, my family's having Thanksgiving in Fresno. She's like, oh my gosh, I want to go. Like, I want to meet your family and stuff. And then I said no. And every time I tell people that story, they're always like, yo, what the fuck? And I'm like, why didn't you just take her?
It's a hell of a story. You tell it often. Hold on. Just proof of concept right here. If anyone's thinking of pitching this movie to the Weinstein Co. or anything like that, it's his idea.
They're crushing. Right? They're crushing it lately. The Weinstein Co.
The Thanksgiving dinner party,
where you just said no. No, it's a bad idea because also if it's somebody that you're just casually dating, Dreadmere, and here's the big problem, right? You don't know them that well. You don't know what they're going to say to your friends and family and coworkers. Now, what if somebody you're dating? I dated a girl one time for 3 months, and it was like near the tail end of the 3 months where someone drove by. She was telling me about a story about how someone drove by one time, cut her off, honked, and threw a can out the window. And then she ended the conversation with, yeah, and he was probably Mexican. I'm like, ooh, oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which brings us to do you want to finish the story?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I didn't find that out about her until 3 months into dating her. And then I was into the car with friends when she said this, and the entire car got really quiet. And everyone's just like, oh, man. And I know what everyone was thinking. They were all thinking the exact same thing, which is, Maddox, you fucked up.
Yeah. You fucked up, man. You're dating a girl that said the phrase, and he was probably Mexican.
Yeah.
We get one Mexican on the show, and you start virtue signaling to him. Hey, just so you know, I dated a girl once, and she said she told a story and said he was probably Mexican, and I said, hey, no way. And all my friends looked at me like, you sick son of a bitch. What kind of monster are you to date such a woman? And I said, oh, well, not dating her anymore. I don't care if she is a 10 and awesome personality and just all around great mom material and wifey material. No, she said he was probably Mexican.
Oh yeah, because those things aren't mutually exclusive, huh?
What?
You can be casually racist and drop prejudiced phrases, and then also be a great mother, having great genes, being really intelligent, and a total 10. Those are usually commonly found together, right?
I would have to look at case by case.
Well, thanks for standing up for me, Maddox. I appreciate that either way, I guess.
Yeah. You got it. See, Dreadmere?
Great story. I gotta tell you. Well, how many movies are gonna spawn from this episode? First the Thanksgiving dinner, then the time the girl said he was probably Mexican. I love how you brought that story up like as just evidence of your personal character.
Yeah.
Such a hero.
It wasn't evidence of my personal character, shithead.
How many times have you heard me say, and he was probably Armenian?
Constantly on
yeah,
this
so
fucking
you're
podcast.
You hang out with racists all the time.
Is that the point? Rucka, it doesn't count coming from you. You're black. Everyone knows that.
Right.
But back to this girl. I didn't find out that about her until 3 months in. What if she's at your fucking Dreadmere party, right? The company party, right?
Yeah.
And she's like just casually standing around with your coworker, your boss, and then just being like, yeah, how about that white nation, huh? And you're like, well, excuse me?
That's the same thing as saying he was probably Mexican.
Well, she also mentioned there was a detail I left out. She also mentioned that there was some old English on the car, and so she just assumed the guy driving by was Mexican.
That makes even less sense to me. Wait, what? Why old?
She was
I guess
stereotyping.
Mexicans are into old English.
Old English,
stickers.
old English stickers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
You must know because you just look at your car, Dreadmere, and you see it.
Maddox, can you tell me more about Mexican culture? I'm kind of lost here.
Yeah.
Well, listen, I'm a big defender. Okay.
He is.
Yeah.
He doesn't stand for any racism. By the way, this really brings up a deeper issue.
Yes.
Okay, you bring a date to a holiday party.
Yeah.
And what is there at every party?
Those fucking veggie dips.
What else?
Mexicans.
Hopefully so. What else?
If you're lucky.
Yeah. What else?
There's fucking alcohol usually.
There you go.
Yeah.
So that's where the problem lies. Now you've got this girl who always seemed kind of normal and not extremely racist. She has a few drinks, and before you know it, she's talking to someone she doesn't even know and saying all types of horrible, insensitive remarks like, and the guy was probably Mexican. So now you look bad.
Yes.
They think they look bad.
Right.
She looks bad.
Everyone looks bad.
Everyone looks bad.
Yeah, thank you, Dreadmere. What do you have to say about that?
What do you have to say about that, you fucking racist?
Yeah, you enabler.
I thought you were going to say you fucking Mexican.
Oh, man.
I don't know, like, why you want to be held responsible for what your partner says. I don't see it. Like, I've dated girls who said off-color shit, like, or on-color, I guess it might be, shit like that.
Very colorful shit.
Yeah.
Let's just say that.
They'll say some racist shit sometimes, and it's not, they're saying it. I'm my own person, you know.
But you can tell in a context of a joke when somebody says something casually racist like that.
Okay, but if you're, say you see like a really hot girl, she's got massive tits, and she's with some old guy, right? And you're like, oh, well, that's weird, but he probably has a lot of money. That's why they're together. So if you look at me, so if you look at me and I'm with that same girl and she's got like massive tits, people are like, oh, I see why he's with her. Like she's hot, you know what I mean? And so she says something like, oh, Mexicans are always putting old English stickers everywhere. Then they'll be like, but I get that, he likes her to bang. Or whatever.
That's not a virtue, Dreadmere.
I didn't say it was virtuous.
Look,
I said it makes sense.
No, you're trying to explain to me why people fuck. I get it. Like, I get like guys want to fuck chicks with big tits sometimes. Like that's a thing. It's not blowing my mind or anyone listening. But look, I've known you for months, Dreadmere. You're an awesome dude. Right. What if one day I just came up to you? Like, have I ever come up to you and said, "Hey, man, you want to know where I put my dick?" No, nobody ever does. And that's what you're telling people when you bring a date to a company party, especially if it's a casual date. It's like, hey, guys, this is where I put my dick sometimes.
That's not a great argument. Because you could just bring in your fleshlight and say the same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to bring in somebody where there's restrictions and be like, oh, they're letting me versus you. They're not letting you put your dick in them. Like this person is. I totally objectified women hardcore right there. It's still the same. You get what I'm saying.
They're begging. All right, but
so this isn't really about holiday parties. It's just, should you take a date anywhere? Because it's a statement when you take a girl somewhere. It's saying, this is where I put my dick.
Sometimes.
And is that something you want to say?
Yeah, and vice versa. And so sometimes girls don't want to bring you around their other friends, their normal friends, their normal group, because they don't want to say, hey, this is the pogo stick I'm riding right now. They don't want to advertise that. That's not something that they are necessarily. I wouldn't even say proud of. It's just not something that's anyone's business. Like, hey, this is my booty call. I guess I'm bringing them to this company party.
So
which, by the way,
bring your date ever anywhere.
Yeah. Don't bring your date to places you frequent. I love mole. Mexican mole, Oaxacan food. It's fantastic, right?
Wow, and this guy is just such a good friend of the Mexican people.
I am a friend. That's what they call me.
He eats mole.
I eat mole.
Yeah, I've never heard him bring up mole in the.
Are you fucking? How long have you you've never heard me bring up mole?
Never.
I bring up mole all the time.
Is that how you're pronouncing guacamole now?
No, it's not guacamole. Although we do have guacamole here in studio today.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah. Very appropriate.
Oh, interesting, Maddox. What made you put out these chips and salsa and guacamole here today? What was it specifically?
Yeah, I thought it was weird that you were wearing a sombrero when I walked in.
I was not wearing a sombrero, you fucks.
And pronouncing it mole.
Mole. Look, I like mole, right? Yeah. And there are multiple restaurants. There's a restaurant in Los Angeles. It's fantastic. I'll give them a plug. It's called Guelaguetza. And it has...
Well, they know.
It has the best moles. They have all the different kinds. They have Coloradito. They have things. I prime people with this. I say, look, we're going to a Mexican restaurant. Don't expect to find tacos and burritos on the menu. They don't have it. This place doesn't have tacos, burritos. They don't have quesadillas. These are things that you find in New Mexican American cuisine, right? Not from Mexico City, right? Oaxacan cuisine comes closer to from Mexico City, and it's a different type of cuisine. So I love this stuff. And there's 2 restaurants I found that were near me that I could go to for mole. The one that I loved the most is the one that I frequented, and I would rarely ever take dates there. I wouldn't take my casual dates there because they're going to see me in there with a different chick every week. So the ones, it's only girls that I start dating for a while. I'm like, okay, this is girlfriend material. We're going out. I'm gonna bring this one to my most favorite place so that they don't judge me and they don't because they can also fuck up your game. I took a date one time to a bar that I frequent, and a bartender came over, and I happen to have 2 dates back to back, night to night. And one of the nights he came over and was like really winging pretty hard. He's like, dude, excellent date tonight. Your date's very beautiful. Welcome. Can I get you guys anything? Blah, blah, blah. Next day, I go into the same place, and I think he realized he screwed up. He goes, hey, Maddox, what happened to the other chick? Hey, so yeah, let me get you the usual.
Side note, anytime if I haven't seen somebody's girlfriend in a long time, like I'm saying hi to a couple, no matter what, I never say like, oh yeah, remember we saw each other? Like if there's a 0.00001% chance this is a different girl than last time and she just looks similar and has the same first name, like I'm just gonna be like, oh hey, great to see, hey, how are you? I never was be like, oh hey, it's
good to see you again.
I'll never acknowledge I've seen her before because that's how out of it I am and out of touch I am. I don't want to risk the fact that I might fuck up this guy's game. But also, what's less frequent than a holiday party? True. It's one season a year.
No, there's lots of holidays. Are you kidding?
What? You know what holiday party means? We're not talking about fucking Labor Day.
No one has Labor Day barbecue. What are you?
That's not a holiday party.
It's a fucking count.
Holiday party is a Christmas party that PC people like you started calling holiday parties.
Rucka, it's not about the holiday aspect of it. It's more about the fact that you could invite someone to any kind of party that everything they say will be scrutinized and you're going to be held accountable for. If you don't know what's going to come out of their mouth, they're a loose cannon. They are going to fuck everything up. You just got to make sure it's...
That's a great point, but his current point is that you don't want to take a girl a place where you frequent, and what's less frequent than a Christmas party? It's only once a year.
Okay, it's not just... First of all, there are way more holiday parties than that. There's a Halloween party people throw. There's Christmas parties. There's some
keep
places...
going.
Yeah, some places do some Thanksgiving parties. They do 4 day weeks.
Nobody has Thanksgiving parties. They just wait for December and they have a Christmas party.
Oh, are you kidding? Every school...
Yeah.
The days before the week of Thanksgiving is basically a fuck around week. You're having half days. Everyone's having
around
fucking
half
parties.
days weeks, but they don't have a fucking an adult party happening the week of Thanksgiving.
Yeah, and they also don't have people bringing dates that they're just trying to advertise where they put their dicks.
Exactly, they don't. So we're talking about holiday parties. We're talking about Christmas and New Year's.
Okay, let me ask you this, Rucka.
Yeah.
Let's say you're just having a get together with some friends, right?
Yeah.
And we've all been in this situation where you have like, I don't know, 7 or 8 friends who are all, you guys all kind of know each other. You're hanging out, you're watching TV, getting some snacks, got some pizza, and you're like, you know what, guys, I'm bringing a new guest to this party. But guy or girl, doesn't matter, just a friend, right, that you thought you knew. And this friend comes over and makes an ass out of him or herself and has no manners. They fuck up the flow of your other friend group, and they are just causing a ruckus. You know about ruckus, Rucka.
Is Rucka the friend you're talking about?
Yeah. And you're embarrassed, right? And then you have to take responsibility for bringing that person to this party,
It wouldn't
right?
be your fault.
Who cares? That's a great story afterwards. You guys
There you
can all
go.
laugh at them afterwards like, oh,
No.
Yeah, it's like a real story. It's not like the time she said he was Mexican. This is a real story. This is not the time she wanted to go to Thanksgiving and I said no. This is a story. Remember that guy showed up and made an ass of himself?
That'd be great. Remember if you bring some friend over and then you're like, oh yeah, you guys remember that? I'm not inviting him anymore. He just came over and he took heroin and passed it on the coffee table for 6 hours and it was really awkward for us.
Oh, you jackasses. Like, this is such a shitty argument. If you bring that person and that person causes damage or steals something, then it's not a fucking funny story, is it? It's a crime. I actually brought a friend to a party one time. Actually, just didn't even invite. Like, kind of tagged along. And this friend came to the party, totally irresponsible, brought drugs, and thought it was going to be a drug party.
A former guest on the show.
It was not, it was not a former guest on the show, no.
Not someone whose name rhymes with Schmostin
Slank. No, it's not Schmostin Slank.
Okay.
You don't know know this person.
Close though. All right.
Yeah, it's Austin. No, it was not that guy, but it was another friend. And he thought this was going to be like I don't know what he was thinking. He thought this was going to be a drug den or something. Showed up with drugs, drank all the alcohol there, and then started dropping glasses, started hitting on people aggressively. And then you know what? It ruined everyone's vibe. And guess what? I wasn't even that close to the people whose house I was at, but I had to gather my friend and take him away. And by the way, they remember that. If you bring a shitty guest or a shitty date to one of these parties, you might not get invited to the next one.
What you got, Drew? Got anything?
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Oh, no, it's not.
Yeah. What do you got?
I was giving him a chance.
I didn't
Okay,
do
great.
anything.
Dude, it makes you look good by comparison.
How does it make?
Yeah. You know, in Jersey Shore,
Yeah. Yes. Go on.
in the reunion episode of season 2, I think season 3, they went to Italy. So, reunion episode of season 2.
Yeah.
They played back a clip of Pauly D and the situation brought home dates from the nightclub that they met. And one of them was DTF, as they say. The other one was, let's just say she disclosed once they got back to the house that she doesn't like to sleep around. She'll only date a long-term boyfriend. So the situation was the one who got stuck with the latter. And he starts throwing a tantrum and getting all mad and just, getting pissed. Like, why'd you come back here if you're not, gonna bang?
Yeah.
And guess what Pauly did?
What?
Totally smashed. Or no, he didn't. He fucked up everyone's game. But they played this clip back on the reunion show, and Pauly said, what happens in that case is I look good by comparison. The girls think I'm a good guy because he's the one who's throwing a tantrum.
Yeah.
So in the future, he totally smashed. And think of all the girls who watched that episode who think Pauly's a good guy by comparison to this situation.
Yeah, because that's what good guys think. They think on how they can project and manipulate themselves to
Exactly.
to manipulate other people into thinking they're good guys.
Exactly.
Right, that's what good guys think.
I didn't say that's what good guys do. I said that's how you look good.
Well,
so
right.
your whole point about taking people to a party, I love how taking a date to a holiday party turned into should you ever take a friend to anywhere.
Yeah, you shouldn't. All I'm saying is if you have a friend who you don't know that well, you can't trust that they won't fuck up and ruin and steal things. I've gone to parties before where, again, another casual acquaintance came by, like somebody I kind of knew through some, friend of a friend, and they came and they just fucking stole the beer and left.
Just fucking be cool, man. Just invite everyone to everything. That's what I do.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
You invite everyone to
Don't you
everything?
remember I used to when I met you, I used to just say, like, hey, man, I'm going to the fucking Comic-Con Pasadena. And, like, you came and, like, some guy that I met once somewhere was there. And
Yeah. I'm like that, too. Rucka, you can vouch for this. I'm generally inviting everyone everywhere, right?
No, because
Yes, I fucking am. Yes, I
you're
fucking
saying
am.
don't even take somebody to a fucking party or
Look,
they might steal the fucking beer.
It's for the argument. I'm arguing my side of the debate here.
No, I hate this whole there's an entire culture right now of just incidences where people just don't wait for explanation. And that's what this is. You're just like, well, people are going to come over and fuck up and now they think this of me. No, you can go back the next day. I'm sorry, I didn't realize that girl was going to do that. Whatever. Like if these people that you're worried about what they think of you, they actually care about you, like they'll probably give you a chance to explain. And if you don't know them, then who cares, right?
That's a very good argument, Mom.
Whoa.
Dreadmere, I understand the good guy routine, okay? But have you ever truly dated a crazy girl? And I'm not saying crazy fun, Dreadmere. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm saying, have you ever dated a girl that made you rethink everything because of how twisted and distorted she left? She left it like a Carl's Jr. bathroom.
Yeah. Shit on the ceilings, dude.
Yeah, I've had that.
All the guys in the room who've had that same blank stare right now. We're just kind of like,
Yeah, that was
that bitch.
That was my moment.
Mikey, is there any stories you can tell, or you don't want to get into specifics?
I'm sure they'll come up later.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But Mikey brings up a good point. Like, what if it's her? What if the person you thought was cool, right, turns out to be like the old English Mexican girl that I dated?
How embarrassing.
Yeah. How embarrassing. Or worse.
If that's possible. I can't even contemplate anything worse than the girl who said he was probably Mexican.
I've dated some crazy ass chicks. Yeah. What are you saying?
We're all here. We all have all of our fingers. I'm sure like it hasn't gotten worse. So at least for us. So my point is, you can kind of deal with it. Like, it's not a big deal. Like, I'm sure she's embarrassed you. I'm sure you've had girls get into the, whatever with your family. I've had girls yelling on my doorstep and my mom was inside. It was like awkward, but it's like, yeah, I had no fucking idea. I don't know. Like,
Well,
just
here's-
explain. Like, I'm sorry.
I'll tell you a secondhand story, or I guess it's third. Yeah, it's secondhand story. A friend was dating this girl for a while, and it wasn't really working out. He tried to dump her, and then that's when shit went fucking crazy. First of all, this girl was always kind of sickly. I as a rule, I have this rule, and my friends in real life know this. I don't think I've ever mentioned it on the podcast, but in general, I stay away from people who are too pale. And I'm not talking about like, fair skin, but people who are too pale. Because there's something wrong. There's something off.
Wow.
They're a little too sickly.
I
They're
get it.
always-
You like Mexicans, man.
God, it's good. Fucking virtue signaling. I won't go near pale people.
No. It's not that. It's just that I don't like to get too involved because it's almost always bad news.
Yeah. Skin
this girl-
color is a great way to gauge. Absolutely.
It's not skin color.
Is this
It's
from Martin
about-
Luther King's
No.
latest essay?
No, it's about their health, right? They don't look healthy.
Good point.
Yeah. Like if you don't have it, it's like you're not eating right.
Yeah.
Something's wrong. Something's
Yeah.
wrong. You're not having enough. You're not fucking enough. There's not enough food in your system. You're indoors too much. That's usually what it's a sign of, that you're fucking indoors too much. Just go outside the block, walk around the block, get some sunshine, eat a fucking steak, and get some dick. Like
This
you'll be
guy
right as rain.
barely leaves the house. When he does leave the house, he's staring down at his Pokemon phone and doesn't get any sunlight. The
Yes,
only
I do.
time you're not pale is when you're pissed off and shouting and red in the fucking head. Anyway, finish. Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was going to tell him to finish his point, but why don't you finish it for him?
I was just wondering how you get so much done on Pokemon Go by staying at the house.
Okay. You know what? I go outside a lot. I do a lot of things outdoors.
Yeah.
I travel. I'm always out and about. You guys don't know shit. But here's the thing: the
You
paleness.
never invite us.
Yeah,
We'd
you never
embarrass
invite
you.
us anywhere because you think we'll embarrass you.
Fight you all the
Not
time. We hang out all the fucking time.
Then by your logic, why do you invite us anywhere? What if there's an incident and then you look bad?
Well, look. I invite people I know and trust.
You don't know me.
to regular to regular places.
Yeah.
Okay.
The only reason we even know Dreadmere is because I invited him
Yes,
somewhere.
and guess who said yes? Fucking this guy, because I'm always saying yes
See,
to everyone.
you got to give people a chance.
I do.
Then why are you making the point that you should never take anyone somewhere until they've been properly vetted
Well,
for
it depends.
several months?
It depends on the fucking situation. Bozo, what do you want to say,
That's
Mikey?
a new point.
You almost gave Dreadmere a chance, and then you start up with the Mexican stuff right
Yeah.
away.
Hey,
I think
but
that's why he gave me a chance.
but
so
back
they
to
can
the-
say he likes Mexicans.
back to the story though, and paleness. By the way, when you get sick, sometimes they lose color from their face because they're sick. Right? That's not an unusual
All
thing.
right, you dislike pale people.
Let's just say sickly. Okay, sorry, I fucking misspoke. So anyway, sickly people, right?
Yeah.
So this guy dated this girl who was sickly all the time, and she fit the profile in my mind. A sickly person. Stay the fuck away. They're bad news. They're always on the verge of dying. So he dated this girl, and then he's like, you know what? This isn't really working out. She was kind of clingy and always calling and checking in and not trusting him and always accusing him of cheating. And he's like, okay, well, this isn't working out. Let's go our separate ways. That's where he thought was the end of it, right? What happened after is she immediately started threatening to kill herself, calling his parents, threatening to kill herself, going to his work, driving by, checking to see if his car was there, driving by his house, checking to see if his car was there, threatening to burn his work down while he was there. And he called the police, and the police come and look at this girl. She's like 110 pounds, tiny, frail little thing who's about to die. And they're like, oh, she's not any threat. And the guy's like 6'3" or something, and he's like, a built dude, and he's like, listen, I feel threatened, and they laugh it off. They're like, how do you feel threatened by this skinny, small little thing? He's like, well, she's fucking psycho, and she's threatening to burn down my fucking apartment, and she's calling me all hours of the night. That's a fucking psycho ex-girlfriend, right?
Right.
And so this could be the girl that you accidentally brought to your holiday party, Dreadmere. And these are the type of people you don't want knowing these intimate details about you. You don't want them exposed to your friends
You
and
don't
family.
want her to know where you work. You don't want her to know who where your family lives.
Right.
So she could be a psycho. Is Maddox's point?
And Mikey's point, because that's what Mikey was referring to.
Yep.
But you're saying that could be anybody. You wouldn't know that, right? Because if you knew that, then why would you? If I knew somebody was a psycho, I probably wouldn't take them to these things. But the point is, it's like you don't know it yet.
But you said dates. You're not saying girlfriends. You're saying dates. Right. So you bring dates.
Yeah, so I don't know if she's a psycho or not.
So don't. So why take the risk? Why roll those dice?
Because it's more likely that she's not gonna burn my house down. I don't know. Maybe I'm a little bit too optimistic, but I just feel kind of invincible in that regard.
Naive, Dreadmere. You're naive.
Yeah. If you think she's not going to burn down the place.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think you should give everybody a chance.
Mm-hmm.
You should let them come on to your podcast. Let them go to your holiday party. Take them to Thanksgiving. Because either way, it's gonna be a good time. I think.
Yeah. I don't think so. Look, I'll just say this: the guests that I have on this podcast, generally speaking, are vetted by either me personally, or someone vouches for them, or I know something about them. I see what they put out into the world. I see their content. I see their product. I see that, they're interesting people. And, I don't like to have a podcast where it's just full of comedians or actors or any type of, specific segment of society. I like to have interesting people on this podcast. So I'm not just going to give any old person a chance. I know I have some friends who would come on this podcast and not necessarily have a personality that pops. I think it's a statement. And similarly,
what did you everything you just said made what's with you? You just okay, hold on. Let me rephrase. Let me repeat what you just said.
Yes, please, in the form of a Jersey Shore episode, if you could. Please.
Everyone that comes on this show has been vetted. First off. Second, it's someone who I've vetted, I've spent time with, or I've seen what they put out into the world. I've seen their product. I know who they are.
Yes.
I don't want to just have actors and comedians on this show. I want to have interesting people.
Yes.
I have friends who wouldn't necessarily pop on this show. What? None of that. You're just fucking saying random things and just hoping something in there addresses what the fuck we're talking about. Okay, your point is everyone here has been vetted?
No, look, I won't say maybe vetted is not the right word, but there's a reason that the guests who come on the show are interesting. I'll say that much, right? But you can't really know that for certain with a date that you bring to a holiday party.
She might not be interesting.
She might not be podcast material.
Yeah. Why would you want to take her anywhere then?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I can't imagine.
Okay, Maddox, by your logic, should you ever take a date back to your house?
Oof. Okay, that's a good
Cornered.
point.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. All right, point Rucka.
Is that it? That whole debate one?
No, that's not the whole debate. The thing is, there's less risk with bringing a date to your house as there is to bring your date to your job.
Really?
Yes, because your job is how you pay for your house. Bingo. Smart.
You're not unconscious for 7 hours at your. I mean, I hope you're not unconscious for 7 hours at your job. So.
Well, yeah, but if your date at your house acts up, you can ask them to leave. But at your work, it's going to cause a scene. She might throw something at you. She might fight with you.
I don't care. I don't
Steal everything.
Yeah, she might steal everything.
Oh my god!
All the staplers at your job.
So your whole fucking policy with who to take to a work holiday party should be under the assumption she could be a total psycho and make a scene.
Yeah, you might be dating a pickpocket.
You heard it on the podcast. If you're gonna date Maddox in the future and he decides to bring you into his job and doesn't want to take you anywhere, he thinks you're probably a psycho.
It's a huge compliment, I think. This is, I don't even know if people who date me or know me know this, but it's a huge compliment from me, an unspoken compliment. If I bring you to a place I frequent, it means I trust you.
That is a compliment.
Yeah. Thank you.
I just give
First
it more.
honest thing you've ever
that
said.
compliment all the time.
Yeah. So what
What's
does this
that?
have to do? So
Yeah.
So don't compliment her. Don't take her to your work party.
No, not until you trust her. Why bring casual people you're dating and hooking up with to anywhere? Oh, hey guys,
I like to include people into my life. I think I do interesting things. I do unique, fun things. And so when I date a girl, I like to show her those things. Like, oh, check out this awesome croissant bakery thing that I like to go to. And then we go and I say hi to the Korean guy there every morning. And, and then she says hi to the Korean guy every morning. And then one day, I don't know that girl anymore. And then the Korean guy's like, oh, man, what happened? And and then the next girl comes and he's like the same thing with her. He's like, we know, like me and him, we can see.
That
So-
Korean.
Yeah, and then guess what? One of these days, the Korean guy who you're saying hi to, and he's like prying into your life, and he knows so much about these girls you're bombing with, I guess, but or I guess not bombing, but the relationship isn't flourishing, right? Hey, and one of these days, Dreadmere, there's a lot of girls you're bringing through, And sometimes, maybe you should take a look at yourself. Maybe that's
Maybe you should just cook the croissant.
Yeah, yeah, exactly my point. Maybe you should mind your own fucking business, old man. I can date whoever I want. Sometimes I'm just hooking up with these chicks.
Exactly. That's my point.
Yeah, it's his point. So who cares what anyone thinks?
Yeah, who cares what anyone thinks?
Yeah, he's just a pervy guy giving you thumbs up so he can knows who he can thumbs up at bouncing titties.
He just wants to sell you your fucking snack and your coffee and send you on your way.
You know what? I'll tell you. Here's why it matters, okay? Because when I buy condoms, I want them to hand them to me, and I hand them money, and I fucking leave. End of transaction. I don't want them to give me a little bit of English when they're handing it to me. Like, okay, here you go, another one. Here you go.
Oh, because he's Korean, so it's only a little bit of English.
That was a pull term.
I know what you're talking about. Okay, so when I was working at Target, I started dating a girl that I was working with there.
Yeah.
And so what happened was everybody knew we were dating because we worked together, and so we were fucking all the time. And so I had to buy a bunch of condoms, and I wanted to buy the biggest box of condoms. Mm-hmm. I realize how this makes me sound. Anyway, I was buying the biggest one, but I was like, okay, like I'm at work. It closes at 11. I gotta buy them now, or else I'm not going to be able to get them. So I went and got them. I was like, I'll wait till it closes. I'll just make sure no one sees me so I can go slip in and just maybe I'll go to one of the registers I know and we'll be cool. So I get my little basket and I get the condoms and then I grab like a juice to put on top of it.
Yeah.
And then I walk over and my manager comes walking by and she's like, oh, hey, what's up, Drew? What are you buying? And then she looks, she's like, oh, you thought that little juice was going to cover all those condoms? I was like, oh, God, yeah, sorry.
Now you look like even more of a weirdo because you're buying the two things you went to the store for, juice and condoms. What are you going to do with those?
All right, listen.
Yeah.
So reason number one not to take a date to a holiday party is you could end up looking bad. Either because she's psycho or because you're just telling the world where you put your dick. Like, just whatever it is, you might look bad.
Right.
She might make you look bad.
Yes.
That's reason number one.
Okay.
Reason number two, she could be a psycho.
Yes.
And then now she knows where you work, or she knows your family, or she knows your friends.
Correct.
All right.
Yeah.
But, like, why is it always the fucking worst case scenario with you?
Well, you have to prepare for the worst case scenarios.
So, like, if you ever have kids, are you ever going to let them out of the cardboard box?
Wait,
yeah,
how do you have
man.
kids?
Look, you can take precautions as much as you can, and then hope for the best beyond that. Right, that's all you can do in life. You can try your best and then hope for the best. That's all you can do. But reason number 3, and this is another big point, and I don't think you'll have a good rebuttal for this, Dreadmere, but I want to hear. It costs them money. So this casual date, this like place you're putting your penis that you're just bringing along with you everywhere to show off, like, hey, here's where I'm putting my penis sometimes. That's costing your employer and your family and your friends money because those people are eating and drinking your snacks.
They're eating and drinking at the party.
Yeah.
I gotta say, I don't feel any sympathy for that. It's a party. Like, are you really gonna be that upset over like one more meal or one more? Even a wedding is there like $70 a person or whatever?
Yeah.
Like,
It adds up.
But this is holiday parties. This is a fucking there's the same fucking bowl of punch.
There's a lot of holidays.
Yeah, there's a
There
lot
are
of
a lot of
holidays,
holidays, but we're just talking about one party.
I measure how much my guests eat, and then
Listen,
I calculate.
if you're throwing a party, you don't want to be embarrassed because not enough people showed up.
yeah, that's true. You'd rather have more people there than nobody there, not eating your guacamole.
Don't tell me what I want.
This guy's so fucking strict. He wants every holiday party to just be everyone coming stag and just standing unifile and just fucking having their one allotted portion of food and drink and just nobody saying anything, telling any stories involving someone that may have been Mexican. Like everything just needs to be so fucking strict. Dude, live a little.
Your Che Guevara eye patch on, and you ask everybody if they enjoyed their rations.
Why don't you guys, why don't you fucking cheap fucks get another idea for a date? Oh, you got to go on a date on the same night as your company party, and you got to bring your fucking date. You know what? Get a fucking new idea for a date. How about that? Bingo. Stop. I mean, the risk is not worth the reward. The reward is what? You saved a couple of bucks on having to entertain this person who you happen to be fucking. Great.
Look, man, the reward is better than that. I go to influencer parties sometimes. Mikey knows about those parties. Sometimes they're Mikey's a big name, and we go and there's free drinks and there's names there. And so when you bring a girl there, she thinks that you're a part of this world and thinks you're cooler than you are. So that's a big reward. It's like, damn, this guy's like, he's crushing it, and really I'm just kind of there. But still, she thinks I'm crushing it. So,
And what if it's a Ty Lopez party and they want you to bring at least one girl for every guy? You need a date.
I have gone to a Ty Lopez party.
Like the invitation says, please bring at least one girl for every guy.
Did it really? I didn't.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I didn't
The guy
remember
is
that.
so fucking cool. I
Yeah.
can't tell you how cool that guy is.
Yeah. No, Ty Lopez is the guy who advertised on YouTube for a long time, and he had all these like lifestyle videos where he would be in his garage with a Lamborghini and a bookshelf. And all these books behind him. He's like, yeah, you want to be smart, you want to make money, you want to be rich like me, you can live my lifestyle, you just have to live like me and do what I do, and
You have to buy my book.
yeah, buy my
basically.
book.
You can't
yeah.
even rip on Ty Lopez correctly.
Is that what it was? Because I didn't watch
That's the
whole
point.
fucking
He
thing.
has a book for you to order.
Wow, sounds like you've watched his videos.
Well, it's all he's saying is you buy my book.
Okay, I didn't know. Whatever.
Well,
so that's the guy, and then Ethan from H3H3, the podcast and the popular YouTube series, kind of ripped on him, and then recently had Ty Lopez on one of his podcast episodes. But anyway, yeah, I've been to one of his Ty Lopez's parties, and he does have this big lavish mansion, which I think Ethan pointed out in one of his videos is rented.
Yeah.
Because he found the property listing on Zillow, and it was for rent.
Of course, the car is rented, the house is rented. How can a guy just say, I have all this money, and, well, how did you make it? Well, I have knowledge. Knowledge, okay, what do you know? Well, buy my book.
Yeah.
And what does the book say? Knowledge is power. Pursue knowledge.
Buy another book.
Do this. Meditate. Yeah, buy another book. There's just no fucking. It's all always just trying to get you to buy a new book.
Well, I mean, look, I'm not going to debate the merits of Ty Lopez's method, but
But if it's one
I
of
will
his
say,
parties, you want to bring a girl, don't you? You
have
need
to bring a
or you
girl.
can't get
okay,
in.
oh, it was a great exception you found to this rule. But I went to Ty Lopez's party, and I think I did bring a girl. I don't know. I may have brought a couple of girls. I don't remember.
Oh my gosh! But
Yeah.
what if they turn out to steal the beer and say racist things about Mexicans?
Well, if it's a party, that's the thing. That's what
Ty
I'm saying.
Lopez is Mexican.
Okay, that's what I'm saying, though. If you show up to someone's party who you don't know, you have less of a vested interest in protecting their property and making a good impression, right? So I showed up at Ty Lopez's party.
Yeah.
Swear to God, within the first 10 minutes of showing up at his party, someone peed on my hat. This guy, it was actually a friend of mine. He came up to me and he didn't like my hat. He goes, "Yo, dude, I want to piss on that hat." I'm like, and he goes, "Can I have it?" And I'm like, "Okay." Thinking it was just a bit. Sure enough, he went around the corner and pissed on my hat. And he may even be listening. He's a friend of mine. He may even listen. He goes, "Look, I'll replace the hat. This is just a joke I'm doing on a friend. I'm going to take a picture and send it to him." That was a Ty Lopez.
I gotta be honest, that kind of sounds like your fault.
Okay, fine. Bottom line is, though, you bring a date to one of these parties, especially if you don't know the host, you might get your hat peed on, and that's not going to make you look cool. So that deflates your argument, Dreadmere. What do you have to say about that?
I guess you found my kryptonite. I don't want my hat peed on.
Yeah.
If I don't want my hat peed on, I'll just say I don't want my hat peed on. Why would you say yes to that?
I don't give a shit.
Oh my god. I don't
Why
know.
not?
Was that
Because I
a
say
girl you
yes
were
more than
dating?
no.
Wait, what
Hold
was
on.
the story? Did
What
you
was Ty Lopez's party a holiday party?
It was not a holiday.
Then your story, it must
Could have been.
Strike that story from the record. We're talking about holiday parties. Strike that from the. We ask that voters do not take that story into consideration.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you
Yes.
for pointing that out.
Maharaja.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good job, Rucka.
See?
See, this is why he's the Maharaja.
That's right.
Well,
All right.
yeah.
So listen, your basic argument is just that anything can go wrong.
Yes.
So better safe than sorry.
Yeah.
Wow. How inspiring.
No,
This guy,
3
he's like
points.
fucking George Washington over here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't take a risk in life.
No, I say yes more than no. I take risks. I've gone skydiving. I've been in a shark cage.
What's the risk of skydiving?
Dying.
Really?
Yes.
What are the chances of dying?
I don't know.
But not very
It's like
high.
1 in 16,000 or something like
Wow. What a fucking this guy out of control.
that. Oh, yeah. What are the risks of dying of going to Coffee Bean? Fucking 0. That's all it's...
Driving to Coffee Bean is more dangerous than skydiving.
Yeah, it's like
No.
1 in
Fuck outta
5,000,
here.
right? Something like that.
No, it's nothing like
What are the risks that the girl's going to burn your house down? Realistic. That's why I was making my point. I was like, we all have all our fingers. What is the risk that she's actually going to cut them off?
Hey.
Actually going to burn our house down?
Yeah. Good point.
She's
Good-
going to get all irate and she's going to scream and she's going to call you a cuck and then all that stuff is going to
Yeah.
blow over and you're going to tell your friends, yeah, whatever.
And
Yeah,
then
good
you look like the good guy, and all the other girls are like, "Oh, poor guy, he was too good for her."
Yeah,
Hell
good,
yeah.
good point, Dreadmere. I have a big bowl of M&Ms on the table. One of them's poison. What's the risk of you getting that one? Go ahead, eat some. Yeah. Not too quick to
That's,
grab those
in that
M&Ms,
case, there's
huh?
certainly one that's poison. In this
Yeah.
case, you're saying don't take a girl to a party because
There's certainly some that are psycho. Poor Mikey and I know.
some people are psycho, so just don't take a girl to a holiday party. That's a very specific instruction.
Or a guy.
Or a guy.
I mean, look, just look at the reverse. If you were a girl, would you bring some random dude you're boning to a party?
Yes.
Why? Why would you do that?
It's a date. This is the question.
It's a cheap date. You
Just
cheap
because
fuck.
everyone at this table
Uncreative.
is a guy doesn't mean the debate only applies to bringing girls to holiday parties. The people voting at home might be female that are dating men.
They're mostly female. What's up, Mikey?
There was a situation back at home where my cousin a couple weeks ago brought a guy to her dad. My uncle just opened a bar.
Yeah.
And she invited this guy to a family, like everyone's there, a gathering that she hasn't even really been dating. I got to tell you, it ruins the flavor.
What are your poor parents going to talk to your date about? So, do you guys want to have kids? Where are you guys living? What are you going to school? These are not questions your date is going to want to fucking answer.
Why would anyone ask her that?
That's what parents do. They're lame.
Are all parents do that?
All parents are lame.
Maybe they're gonna ask, hey, what do you do for a living? Have you seen the new season of stupid
Jersey Shore?
Jersey Shore?
So your poor parents have to sit there and pretend they give a shit about this
my
person
God.
you're boning right now.
You know, the real question should just be should parties even exist since everyone's such a piece of shit.
No, but your poor parents, you're going to put them through that? So they're going to have to sit there and it's like, well, next time Mikey Bolts comes over, he might be banging someone else. I'm going to have to ask the same fucking
Good
question.
point. It
And
is
by the way,
repetitive.
what if your niece or nephew is at this party, right? They're like 7, 8 years old.
Yeah.
Super adorable. They come up and they're like, Uncle Mikey,
Yeah.
can you please introduce us to your wife? And you're like, no.
She's not my wife
She's not
yet.
my wife. She's not my wife. No, just not
She
my
could be
wife.
insane.
It's like, well, who is she?
She's a whore.
She's a... Yeah, why not just bring fucking prostitutes?
We're not married,
everywhere you
so
go?
she's
Oh
a
my
slut.
God. Your
I mean-
family humors you. Your family should be okay. Like you have an uncle who has a bunch of planks of wood stapled to the tree in the backyard, and he always says he's going to work on the tree house, and you guys are like, he's not going to. But you tell him, oh yeah, dude, one day you'll have time. But you humor him, and you just let him keep that pile of wood there.
So what do you tell your niece and nephew, Dreadmere, if you're bringing this like really hot fucking tits out chick that you're banging to your family home party, right? You're
I'll tell her that she knows magic tricks or something. I don't know.
Oh really? Okay,
Things
Sally, can
relevant
you
to
show
them.
us a
She
magic
likes,
trick?
likes Frozen. I don't
Yeah,
know.
Look,
and
kids-
she'll you don't want your nephews to know about the tricks she turns.
Look, kids like they want to learn about dating. They want to see their uncle have a date. They don't want to see their uncle be a fucking lonesome loser.
They're too young and they don't understand dating. What is dating? Dating's stupid. You're going to explain that to kids and they're going to be like, oh, wait, and you're going to just say, oh, sorry, this is just someplace I put my dick sometimes. Like, this is a person
That's
I...
not something you should ever tell any kids. I don't know why you would think that's something they'd have to deal with.
They have to think about it. Who are they going to ask? They're going to say, well, who did Uncle Dreadmere show up with?
That was
Uncle Dreadmere. How is he supposed to ever meet the one, Maddox, if he won't take any girls anywhere?
No, it's not any girls. If you know for a fact this is a girl or a guy that you're dating who you have no future with, why the fuck would you introduce them to your parents?
Well, okay.
There's a cultural thing too. Like I dated somebody who was not very proud of bringing me around work, but eventually we got to the point where she wanted to bring me around her family, and I got to go to her like family something events at a park. I don't know what it was, a birthday, I think, and they had like Filipino food, and I got to see what that was like, and I got to hear them talk about me behind my back in Filipino language, Tagalog, and like
Tagalog. Is it Tagalog?
Tagalog.
Tagalog.
Yeah, and so like, because they're all like, "What the fuck? This guy's not." But still, I had a good time, and it was fun. Like, because they didn't like me because I'm like super young, and like she was older. But like I had a good time. I thought it was like, oh, this is interesting. Like, it reminded me of my family. I like that she introduced me to that culture, and I took something away from that, even if we never talk again.
Okay.
So I do the same thing with my Mexican traditions with our sombreros and our old English stickers. When I bring a girl over, like, we don't poison the M&Ms.
Yeah.
We have all this great stuff going on, and she gets to enjoy that for a week, and then
Let me make a Maddox style argument in Drew's favor.
Okay.
If you bring a date to a holiday party, it could be a great way to break cultural barriers. Because what if you're of a different race? Now your family meets this date and realizes that everybody's a person. Such a great way to finally get over the racial tension in this country.
Okay. Okay,
What?
wrong.
I didn't say that's your opinion.
Well,
it's a Maddox style argument.
not.
The stretches, the fucking mental gymnastics are there.
It fucking doesn't.
Maddox 101.
Well, okay, let's play some role play. Let's do a Drew style argument, okay?
Okay.
Hey, Rucka, let me tell you about this party I went to. So there's a bunch of Filipino food, and they talked behind my back. Anyway, that was...
Yeah, what was the point of that?
My point was, I enjoyed it. I had a good time.
Yeah.
They didn't like me, but because they're like, why are you with this kid? But I was like, dude, like Filipino food is amazing. It's mostly
course.
meat and then
Yeah.
a little
Right.
bit of rice, and
great.
they have. It was just, I was like, holy shit, this is great. They're drinking all the time. I was like, dude, I'm having a good time. People like to like attribute moments and thoughts of things to other people and their opinions of you. I don't do that. Like I'm, good moments and good days don't happen every day.
Yeah.
You got to be like, dude, fuck it, dude. Fuck your grandma who doesn't like me. Like this.
Yeah.
This is some bomb pork whatever tongue. I don't know.
And Maddox style argument, if they need to buy more food because you're there, doesn't that help the economy?
No, what the fuck are you talking about?
What?
Anyway, back to... listen,
they need to buy more drinks and food because there's another guest, and that
Oh,
creates
boy.
jobs.
All right, well, we're getting into economic theory, guys.
No, we don't want that.
You know what that means. It's time to wrap up this debate. If you want to vote on madcastmedia.com,
What a debate.
go there, vote on it. We'll have the results next week. We're also going to talk about the results from last week in a moment. But first, Rucka, do you have a wrap-up for us?
Yeah, look, the answer is usually don't do it because more harm than good can come of it. But I'm a big fan of doing doing something highly uncomfortable because it builds character, it gets you out of your comfort zone, and if there is a small chance of personal enrichment, I say go for it. So yeah, I'll take someone who probably shouldn't be going anywhere with me. I'll take them wherever I go. Only because it's uncomfortable.
It's a Rucka wrap-up.
Yeah.
All right, that's a wrap-up. Thank you,
You're
Rucka.
welcome.
Yeah, go.
Words to live by.
Yeah.
Yeah, or you can be negative like Maddox.
I'm
not. By the way, you see the mentality of someone that doesn't bring a date to a holiday party?
I do.
The guy never leaves his house. Never leaves the internet.
Yeah, follow it to his logical extreme. Actually, I don't want to go anywhere. Why does everyone have friends? What are parties?
Why
Yeah.
don't you guys you guys are so inconsiderate of your friends' time and mental faculties and their resources?
Yes.
Why put your friend? Look, the number
Finite
of times
resources.
The number of times I've introduced a girl or a date to my friends where it didn't work out is, getting up there. And I don't want to put them through that every fucking time. I don't want them to have to sit there and get to know someone new and then start to introduce them into their friend circle. It's a big deal.
No, I'd say I wouldn't say I'm inconsiderate of my friends. I'd say I'm confident in their ability to know of their opinion of me and look, Drew, he's going through a thing right now. This girl is not, who it was, just not the 10 out of 10. Whatever, this girl's whatever, they're probably gonna be like, yeah, she comes through. And if you do it a lot, then they don't even notice anymore. It's like the fifth girl that they brought to mini golf. Who cares?
Yeah. They get calloused and jaded.
You can tell a lot about a girl by her palms.
Mikey Bolts. Before we move on, though, guys, I do want to mention that a longtime listener of the show calls in pretty frequently, leaves us some voicemail, and his voicemails usually start out with, "Hey, Maddox, it's me." Well, he sent us a care package.
Ah, shit.
This is from a fan named Christian. Christian sent us a care package with a letter. It says, "Hey, Maddox, it's me. I figure since I start most of my voicemails that way, it should work for a letter. I got you guys some snacks from St. Louis. The Red Hot Riplets are a local favorite that go to Maddox." And he sent us these spicy chips that you guys are eating right now. Red Hot Riplets, hot barbecue flavored ridged potato chips, St. Louis style. And they're spicy, right? They're delicious chips. Then he said, "I sent you some Flamin' Hot Cheetos for Rucka because he's black." Here's some Flamin' Hots for you,
True.
Rucka. There you
Yeah.
go.
Wow.
That's.
Hell
I'm
yeah.
not even sure who that's the most offensive towards. And then we have a Swedish fish for Mikey. And
Nice.
there you go, some Swedish fish,
Oh,
Mikey.
shit.
Damn, that's a lot
That's
of
cool.
And finally, for our very special guest who's often quiet, but he sits on a stool,
Just get it over with, Maddox.
Skittles for
of
President
course.
Trump.
Ah,
you.
shit.
Look at that.
Yeah.
These were from last week, the ones that I have right now, so thank you. I needed new Skittles, Maddox.
And then for Dreadmere, another bag of these spicy chips. He sent us multiple days.
Yeah, from Old Vienna, Mexico. That's
Wow.
great.
No, but thank you, Christian. He says, "Hope you guys enjoy it." From a dude named Christian, but is an atheist. And then in parentheses says, "Because life is ironic." Wow, thank you.
Sure
Christian.
is.
Yeah, it sure is.
Christian atheist.
Christian
I like
atheist.
this guy.
Anyway, thank you very much, Christian. Thank you. If you guys want to send any care packages, any gifts, anything like that, send me a message on Facebook or Twitter, and I can hook you up with that address. But yeah, we really appreciate those, and we will be enjoying those snacks, the guests, future guests on the show at some point.
Hell yeah.
Very, very nice, very thoughtful. Anyway, we should get on to the voicemail. We got a bunch. This one is about the new format on this show. Let's see what this guy says. Listen to this.
Maddox, this new format fucking sucks. So, like, you have the debate.
Oh, that's too bad. Sounds like your phone call fucking sucks.
Yeah, great format of that voicemail.
Yeah. Why don't you learn how to use a phone, dipshit?
Douchebag of the week.
Yeah, fucking douchebag of the week right out the gates.
Yeah.
What an asshole. But for the record, most people really enjoyed the new format. In fact, most people have said that it's easier to share the podcast. It's easier to listen to. They don't have to skip around. Because some people just are interested in the debate. They don't understand what the voicemail is or any of the jokes and references and things. But most people have really responded positively to this new format.
Change is hard. But think about it. You listen to a podcast for the first time, and like 20 minutes in, they're listening to a bunch of voicemail. You think it's a podcast about voicemail.
Right. And it is not. So that's why we changed the format of the show. And most people really like it, and that guy sucks dick at making voicemail. Here's another voicemail defending Rucka, actually.
Yeah.
Rucka, I think you'll like this. This might be one of the Nuckas out there. Listen.
Hell yeah, Rucka's Nuckas.
Hey, Maddox, you keep talking about if Rucka owned a house and then everybody around that house bought up all the property so that, and if he owned a business at that place, he would be able to get people in. But here's the thing. What if Rucka's business is completely online? Ha!
Yeah.
Checkmate.
What if Rucka's business... That's the whole point of the net neutrality debate.
Yeah, what if your business was completely online?
Well, you could buy the internet service provider, the local one, and then just cut off access to Rucka's business. End of story. How are you going to get online?
Wait, what would you do?
Just buy the internet service provider.
Yeah.
And then prevent you from having a website. Prevent you from having access.
Come on, Maddox.
Too much.
Listen, if someone that badly wants to fuck me over, like... life's like hopefully there's another internet provider I can. It's like your whole fucking basis for totalitarianism is like, what if a private company fucks you over? As though that can never happen in the fucking magical unicorn land that is government run command economy. And by the way, when you own property, implicit in that ownership is that you're allowed to enter and leave it. So if somebody else gets property that prevents you from doing that, there is a case to be made that they cannot acquire something in a way that doesn't let you fucking enter and leave your own house.
Oh.
And this fucking obsession with just creating these hypotheticals is just so fucking incoherent. The whole purpose of property rights is that it enables you to live on Earth. It enables you to provide for yourself. And yeah, you can come up with all these ridiculous scenarios where, but what if property rights... Okay, what if I trip and fall, Maddox, and I fall onto your lawn? Oh, trespassing, get out your shotgun and empty a fucking round in my fucking skull because I just violated your property. No, that's not it. The purpose. You have to look at why is there property rights, and then we can get down to the legalities of it. But for you to come up with these stupid scenarios as a reason to just eliminate property altogether and just give the government a fucking blank check to just fucking recreate the whole fucking system from the ground up because, well, how can you trust property? I'll fucking buy a fucking donut and fucking wrap the donut around your fucking throat and then you can't fucking move. That's your fucking Maddox logic.
Wrong.
Oh, oops. Yeah, no, you hit that. Can't take it back.
Oh man, I gotta play this one again. Oh, so many straw men.
Good.
In there.
We don't have time for that. We're running out of time.
We sure don't. Here's another voicemail.
We're out of time.
This one's about genetic engineering and the potential negative outcome of it. Listen to this.
Yeah.
You guys brought up an interesting point when you asked, what if genetically modified people become too smart and want to wipe everyone else out? Well, like most questions in live Star Trek already answered this one. Sit back, this is going to get real nerdy. In that universe, they tried genetic engineering. It resulted in superhumans like Khan, who decimated much of the Earth's population while fighting for power. Is that what you want? Bunch of Wrath of Khans running around? No genetic tampering.
Yeah. Because we talked about the possible outcome of genetic engineering being superhuman, right? You create a new race of humans who actually do have higher intelligence, higher physical capability, higher effects. They're able to dominate regular humans. They're able to run faster, look better, think smarter.
But you know what, Maddox?
What?
If they don't have the right philosophical ideas, they're not They're not better than us.
Yeah,
they will fail
because ethics is objective.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Sounds like you're describing robots, right? Like they can run faster, they can whatever.
Basically, I mean, it's the same argument as artificial intelligence. Why create it? I think that some of the foremost academics and scholars today, especially in technology, are starting to ring the alarm bells about artificial intelligence. It is unpredictable. If we create artificial intelligence that is actually as intelligent as we think it is and could be, it could very much be a Matrix scenario. Oh, sorry to trigger Rucka because he doesn't like the fucking Matrix.
Oh yeah, a Matrix scenario. What does that mean? What are you getting at?
The Matrix, the backstory that they kind of just alluded to in the first movie was that when artificial intelligence was created, it very rapidly and exponentially increased in its power and capacity and output. So the artificial intelligence that was created on day 1 was 5 times more powerful on day 5 and 50 times more powerful on day 10, etc. And then
it's a singularity.
It becomes an uncontrollable, an out of control process that just runs on its own, a chaotic system essentially.
It has never happened before. I don't know why people waste. But my point is like why even think about that?
Why think about
and
problems
anyway,
that
we're not talking
encounter?
about like you're worried about this artificially intelligent robot that's smart enough to kill us all but doesn't have a conscience to give a shit. But that's not. We're talking about genetically engineered people.
Yeah,
people.
Same thing could happen to them. I mean, are you familiar with Isaac Asimov's 4 rules of robotics? Are you guys familiar with that? Dreadmere, you're saying yes? Okay, for the listeners who don't know, his 4 rules of robotics are essentially, robots must always obey humans, right? Robots cannot harm any humans. Robot cannot harm, I think, other robots. And rule number 4 is a robot should always protect humans, right? So just at a glance, you look at those 4 rules and you say, well, that sounds good. That sounds like a good set of rules. Robots can never harm humans, and robots should always protect humans. However, where that caused a problem in, like the book and the movie I, Robot, is that robots, the artificial intelligence, interpreted rule number 4, that you should always defend humans, as looking at the collective of humanity and seeing what they are doing to themselves, and then making the judgment and prediction that humanity is going to destroy itself on its current course. So in order to protect humanity, the robots, using intelligence and logic, decided the best thing for them is to entrap them and enslave them like animals in a zoo to prevent them from destroying themselves.
That shit for brains movie, like most movies out there, are just trying to perpetuate like the day after or whatever, the day after tomorrow, or fucking the day the earth stood still. All these stupid fucking movies. These were not created by smart people. These were not thoughtful people. Yeah, hit your little buttons.
There you go. There's that one. There's that one.
I didn't even
what else
strawman
you want?
yet.
There's a boo
I didn't
for
even
you.
strawman. These are not. Who are these people that you think create these movies? Fucking smart people.
Yeah,
they're fucking assholes that sit at the fucking coffee shop.
Yeah,
and
Isaac Asimov was an asshole.
The type of guys
a real dumbass.
that won't take girls to their fucking holiday party. They just sit around and assume the worst about people. So yeah, they're trying to push this fucking vision that mankind's going to destroy himself if we don't lock him up. Yeah, but what can I do about this? I'm gonna create a shitty movie and sell a bunch of tickets to a bunch of people that can't wait to buy popcorn and go sit on a Friday night watching a shitty movie with special effects describing how mankind is going to destroy himself. What am I gonna do? It's fucking stupid. If robots ever do gain consciousness, they'll probably look right at you, Maddox, and explain to you how incoherent you are and how locking people up in cages prevents them from doing anything that they need to do to live.
Yeah, oh great. Way to tack on a tiny bit of addressing to the philosophy at the tail end of that giant fucking straw man argument you just made. The thing is, Rucka, you're not considering the philosophy. That was a giant ad hominem attack against Isaac Asimov, who is an accredited, allotted.
Accredited? Allotted?
He's lauded. He's accredited.
Lauded.
Yes, he's lauded.
This guy, it's so ironic how much you hate Trump when you use all his arguments every day.
That's not a Trumpian argument.
This is true.
Donald
People
Trump
have
can
said
attest
this.
to that.
Can you say this is true?
It's
People
not
have said
okay.
this.
No, it's not true.
It's not true.
No,
What's not
sir.
true,
I have a
Donald?
crystal ball, and I know everything. I know all the answers, and that's never been in my ball.
What about this is true? People have said this. That's
I didn't
definitely
say that. I didn't say that.
Oh, but he was lauded.
He is
accredited.
Unaccredited.
What does that mean? Hold on. Let's unpack that for 1 second.
Yes.
Oh, he's accredited. What does that mean? That means some other asshole academics pointed at him and say, I approve. It's no different than some dumbass writing a shitty movie, and here you got dumbasses writing a
He's
shitty
an award-winning, best-selling author.
Oh my God!
And people
Did God himself come down to earth and give him the award? Another fucking academic pain in the dick gave him an award that he didn't deserve. Anyone could give anyone an award. I can give you an award right now. You can give him an award right now.
You don't have it. You don't fucking have an award because you haven't said any fucking philosophy that anyone agrees with. Not one fucking person.
That's how you know it's true if everyone agrees with you.
Attack. Oh yeah. Sorry, Dreadmere.
By the way,
Isaac Asimov doesn't.
How many awards did Galileo get?
It doesn't fucking matter, shithead.
It does matter. He got none because he told the truth and people didn't want to fucking hear it.
Okay.
If Galileo wanted to be popular, he could have said some stupid religious shit that everyone would have agreed with at the time. Just like today, it's fucking fashionable and it's trendy to talk about how mankind is going to destroy himself if we don't lock him up, and the robots know that, bruh.
Right, another fucking straw man.
It's your answer to everything. It's the
your
straw man
entire
music. Are you paying Wizard of Oz for this shit? Is Harvey Weinstein paying you to promote the Wizard of Oz?
You know what we need, other than
Trigger,
because that's very appropriate for Rucker right now. What we need is an ad hominem attack sound effect because you made so many of them in that you did not address
his
one
point
fucking
was
thing.
that you're saying that he's accredited and that he's awarded and all this kind of stuff, so that makes his point relevant, but it still isn't. Because it's just another person saying that he's... So like,
address his fucking argument instead of making the ad
what
hominem
argument?
attacks.
What
His
argument?
okay, people aren't going to kill themselves. You don't have to be that pessimistic to think
argument,
so.
No, the argument is, right, we're talking about artificial intelligence and we're talking about humans who might perceive themselves, who might be genetically superior to regular organic humans, right? Genetically modified humans, if they have this type of higher capacity for strength, higher capacity for thinking, what's to stop them from looking at us like artificial intelligence might and say, humanity is going to destroy itself unless we intervene and protect them by enslaving them?
If they do have a higher capacity for intelligence, then they can tell you why Isaac Asimov was full of shit.
Well, let me tell you why you're full of shit, buddy. Because this is happening right now, today.
What's happening?
Humans are looking at species that we consider less than, like pandas and white rhinos, which I guess are extinct now, but rhinoceros and pandas and extinct animals. And we say, you know what? These animals are extinct. We can't trust that they'll survive in the wild, so we need to take them and protect them from themselves. And we put them in enclosures, don't we?
Because animals...
It's not that much of a far-fetched idea, huh,
Animals do not reason.
Oh, and that's exactly the same arguments the superior humans and artificial intelligence are going to make.
The superior people that are smart enough to look at us and say human beings are capable of reason.
But what if what if we're not?
Let me finish. They will look at us and say people are capable of reason and in fact should be reasoning, but unfortunately, as is exemplified every day by one Maddox, they choose not to. Okay? That is not the same as a fucking panda, which has no fucking choice. All a panda does is what his instincts drive him to do. I know you'd like to see people as just driven by instinct. We're just following the course of history like fucking automatons. But that's simply not the case. Look at you and me. We're fucking the same species and we're radically different. I'm very correct and you're always wrong.
What an ass. Yeah, because showing signs of reasoning and learning has prevented humans from putting these animals in enclosures, right?
What?
Because we look, we have animals in enclosures today that have shown signs of higher reasoning, higher thinking, learning. Crows are incredibly intelligent animals, not compared to humans,
right?
But they're intelligent animals. Monkeys have shown the ability to reason, and every
signs of it. Good.
Every fucking dog.
Okay, but Maddox.
But they'll make the exact same arguments. You know what? Fucking enslave Rucka. Fuck it. Go ahead, do your genetic engineering. I don't give a
Please get
shit.
me out of here,
Good.
robots,
Okay,
people,
wait, what about
whoever you
your
are. Get me off of Earth.
In your iRobot movie, Will Smith has a conversation with a robot, and he says robots can't paint a picture, robots can't make a symphony.
Yes, they can, but they can. We've already proven that they can.
Well, he was asking the robot if he could, and then he asked Will Smith if he could, and he was like, "Oh, I guess I can't." But the point is that he can learn to. You can't teach a gorilla to make a song or make art.
Yeah,
right?
you could.
You can teach a gorilla to play the song.
I mean, what if you could?
Wait, how long have I
hypothetically?
been?
Yeah,
You're still just teaching him to follow a process. But if robots are so smart, and in that dumbass movie, the robots just presume a utilitarian morality where just the more good for the most people is just the quick calculation they make, that's not necessarily correct. It's just what they were programmed to do in that horrible movie.
Well, look, the frustrated bloviating you just did for about 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Instead of that,
felt like 30 hours.
Yeah, absolutely. Instead of that, you could have actually said the real argument against that would have deflated this whole fallacy,
ahead.
right?
Listening.
So this alleged problem with these 4 rules has already been addressed.
Yeah.
And the way you address it is to simply add an addendum and say anything that you do cannot violate any of the first 3 rules. So you can protect humans. You can protect humans.
Yeah.
As long as it doesn't violate the first 3 rules.
There
and
you
that
go.
solves the entire problem.
All right.
You don't
Problem
have to,
solved.
Yeah. Too bad it took me to say it.
Yes.
Not,
You are a
the
fucking
intellectual powerhouse.
You are
that
the
is me.
fucking intellectual of our time.
Yeah.
You know, the way you go against the grain, the way you fucking are brave enough to stand up to Isaac Asimov himself, the way you're able
some
to,
dumbass
the way
hipster.
you're able to challenge brilliant masterpieces of intelligence like I, Robot starring Will Smith. You're just
There's
such
a book
a
before
fucking
that,
powerhouse.
ass.
You're so brave.
All right, well,
yes.
here's another-
It's a book. You hear that? Anything published in a book is automatically right. Absolutely. I mean,
I
look
didn't
at
say that.
Look at fuck whales, and there's no lies in there whatsoever.
Okay, asshole.
Yeah.
Yeah, Maddox doesn't even fuck any whales.
Well, here's another voicemail.
Yeah.
So glad we got that voicemail. Here's another one.
Maddox, I just listened to your episode debating the ethics of modifying human genetics, and you had a question to determine people's political leanings on whether or not they would eat soup that was stirred by a used but sterilized fly swatter. Now, you left out important information on whether or not the soup was in a bread bowl. I think you should ask your audience if they would eat that fly swatter soup out of a bread bowl, and you would get a very telling and revealing answer on your audience's political leanings.
Yeah, I think, Rucka, last time you said you would eat soup that was stirred with the fly. How about you, Dreadmere? If you had soup served to you that you knew was stirred with a fly swatter that had been used but sterilized, would you use it? Would you eat it?
I mean, if it's been sterilized, I mean, yeah, why not?
And Mike, you said no, right?
Yeah, skip lunch.
You'd skip lunch.
Wow.
But what if it's in a bread bowl?
Definitely.
Oh,
I'm a
yeah,
fan
I
of
would
bread
eat it.
bowls.
You would eat it
See
in a bread
them,
bowl.
it
Yeah,
brings
bread
me
bowls.
joy.
People like bread bowls, Rucka. And it's not increasing the price by 300% like you falsely claimed on a previous episode.
All I ever said, Maddox, is that you should be against it because you're a negative person. I celebrate the abundance and the prosperity of a culture that's able to produce something as dumb as a bread bowl.
Well, speaking of dumb, here's a guy who's calling in to make a correction because I think you also said something about the Soviet Union. I think last episode. Listen to this.
So this message is for Rucka. Rucka made a comment about how, there's so many successful games in the Soviet Union, right? Well, it turns out one of the most successful games in terms of sales was Tetris, which was actually developed in the Soviet Union.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
All right. What a success story.
Yeah.
What
the most successful game of all time
Oh
was
my
developed
God.
in the Soviet Union.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Only number one.
You sent one dog into space and you came up with the most boring game on Earth.
Oh, great. They beat us to space and they came up with the
Oh
best-selling
my God.
game of all time.
This guy's just a full-fledged communist at this point.
Yeah, well, that's why I have Trump on the show every episode.
That's right, Maddox.
Yeah. And Trump, I don't want to put you on the spot here, but is there any truth to this collusion with Russia during the election or anything like that?
Look, Maddox, I come here to get my mind off things, all right? This is like my fourth Mar-a-Lago, okay? So for you to ask me these questions, I can't do it right now.
I didn't mean to put you on the spot, Donald. All right.
But
well, we got
Russia's cool, and I really want to get to know
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that sounds kind of telling to me.
What? He's a positive person, unlike
Yeah.
some people.
Yeah, I'm very
He's
positive.
going to invite Russia to his next holiday party.
Yeah.
You don't know that, Dreadmere, okay?
Yeah. You don't. And if he did, Russia might show up and shit all over everything and steal your junk.
They might have a good time.
Yeah, great. Yeah, here's another caller. Listen to this guy.
What up, Maddox? It's Rucka. Hey, listen, I was just listening back to the episode, and I heard you saying that your genetics, your genes determine your opinions and determine your political views, and I just wanted to let you know that the alt-right agrees with you completely. Okay, bye.
Yeah. No, we already had a douchebag of the week.
Douchebag of the week, Ruck Ollie.
We already had one.
We've had multiples, and you're definitely douchebag of the week.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah, the alt-right. Okay.
Yeah.
So what's the argument here? That the alt-right makes the same case that there is genetic superiority? Is that what it is? Like with thinking?
Not even before you even get to superior or inferior. It's that the idea that you're shaped by your genes. Not only that all of your characteristics and traits, but that your consciousness is not even there. It's just everything you do is driven by genes, your opinions, your interests. Like, that's what they're all about, and that's what you spent an hour and a half pushing last week.
Let me ask you this, Rucka.
Yeah.
You seem to think that the mind is ephemeral. You seem to think that the mind is not a physical construct. Do you think that the mind is a physical construct or not?
I don't know exactly how to answer that.
Let me ask you this, Dreadmere. Maybe you can answer. Do you think that the mind is a physical construct? Do you think that your mind is made up of actual physical things that are inside your head, and the way that your mind is created, the way that it fires off neurons, the mental pathways that you have, do you think that's a physical construct?
I mean, I can't say that it's not. I mean, it literally is, but I don't think that has anything to do with like my decisions or anything like that.
Why not?
Because this basically everybody wants to alt-right and all that. They're all saying everything is out of your hands. Everything is out of your hands as far as your race, as far as your tribe, whatever your tribalism, your collect, where you live, and all that kind of stuff. You're all saying it's attributed to everything else. It's not my fault. I don't really subscribe to the idea that shirks responsibility from you. Because then, if that's the case, then why blame anyone for anything? Why reward anyone for anything? Why reward Isaac Asimov for doing whatever the fuck he did that you were talking about? If it's because he was Asian or whatever, and that his mind was a physical Asian construct, and he just happened to be, and those electric neurons went in that way, and he just happened to be the guy who make robot rules.
Thank you for that argument. That's a brilliant argument that I made in my book. There's a chapter called "Fuck Being Proud of Who You Are."
Exactly,
because you didn't have.
He's saying you didn't build that. He's a complete SJW / alt-right. They both
it's
say
about race. It's about nationalism. It's about where you were born. You didn't earn your nationality.
Right.
You didn't choose your nationality unless you moved someplace that you weren't born in and made a conscious decision to be part of that nation.
Correct. Right. But what you did choose is what you actually chose.
But hold on, let's go back to this argument here, because this is a really important one, and it's very subtle. But the mind is a physical construct. There are atoms inside your head and electrons, and the way they interact with each other, they fire off neurons, and those neurons produce thought. We don't know the full mechanism with which that works, but they produce thought. And when your mind gets damaged, physically damaged, there are certain areas of your mind and your thinking and your cognitive ability that get damaged. Your ability to reason, for example. And there are people who are born with missing pieces in their brain or fewer neurons due to severe alcohol use or drug use. It does diminish over time. If you use marijuana as a teen or preteen heavily, it can diminish the rate at which your neurons fire and that sort of thing. So it can affect your thought. Well, similarly, you can simply be born with genes that produce a mind that is less capable of reasoning than others, or may have proclivities towards sociopathy or psychopathy. And that's actually been proven in some studies. They've looked at the genetic history of sociopaths, and they found, it's not just this one guy. His dad also was a sociopath, and his grandpa was also a sociopath. And then there's, it's starting to open up this new world where potentially we're looking at how much genetics play into our thinking and whether or not we're conservative or liberal, or whether we have certain proclivities based on our genes. Now, I know that could be a scary path to go down, Because then you could actually make the case that there may be some difference to the way that we think based on the way that people look, based on where people are born, etc. But this isn't something we should just brush under the rug. Our minds are made up of atoms, and there is a school of thought in science that says if you take a snapshot of Rucka today, in this exact moment, and you measure the position of every single atom and electron in his body, you could potentially recreate Rucka with that exact same formula, as long as those atoms are in the exact same place, with the in the exact same position, with the same exact, everything. You could duplicate that person, right?
Yes, but that duplicate, if he is a perfect duplicate, he's conscious, and he may decide one thing based on certain thoughts and conclusions he comes to, and the original version of me may disagree and go somewhere else based on different information or different thought process or different preferences.
But you're not addressing the mechanism with which you think.
I understand that the mind is a physical thing. I'm not religious. I'm not telling you God gave you a spark of consciousness and that, it's a mystical thing. I understand the brain is a physical thing. I understand brain damage is a thing. I understand some people are more capable of being rational than others. A little bit apprehensive about that. Some people are just incapable of it because of damage to their brain. But I think virtually everyone, like pretty much all non-mentally retarded human beings, are capable of being rational. And in fact, I'll even add, the ones with low IQ who decide to embrace reason can reach Mars before the high IQ race of people who chose to embrace mysticism. For instance.
You think it's just a choice. You think it's a choice to be rational.
It is.
You really, but you don't have any evidence for that.
You have no evidence to the contrary.
Yes, I do have evidence to the contrary. And I'll tell you what the evidence is.
Why do you get so angry about the idea of me saying you have a choice?
Because you don't have any evidence for that, and I have evidence to the contrary.
You're ultimately arguing against free will, and so you can make the point like, okay, I'm raising my arm right now. Everything that makes me do that's electrical, and it's all these things going on that are all physical things that we can measure and recreate. The problem is me choosing to do things, or me choosing where to put my arm, or how to use it to make it stronger, to cut it off, or all those kinds of things have to be up to me. Otherwise there's no responsibility, there's no accountability, there's no point in doing anything if it's all just electrical connections and everything just going on that's out of my hands. I have opinions and I have thoughts and I have emotions that can't be recreated day to day, and they can't be recreated by water and by electricity and everything else that makes me what I am.
Well, first of all, I'm not arguing against free will. I do believe that free will exists. Not always in every instance, but what I'm arguing is that your thoughts and opinions may be influenced by your genetics. And then, Rucka, back to the point, though, that I do have evidence to the contrary, right? That being rational is a thought. Being logical is thought. Making decisions is just comes naturally, right? It doesn't. Thinking doesn't come naturally, because they have found that and it's very rare, but they found that sometimes children become abandoned, and they, for whatever reason, get adopted by packs of dogs or wolves or animals, and that sort of thing. And it's not just a myth. They've actually found children who have been raised in the wild. And when they have these children who've been raised in the wild, I think there was an example, I think in Romania or Russia or something like that, where they found this girl who was out running in the forest with some animals, and they caught her and brought her back. They found that she wasn't able to speak, no matter how much they tried to teach her, no matter how much they tried to communicate. This was in India most recently. There was like a 12-year-old girl or something they found out in the forest, and she was just running around naked. And they thought, well, this is really unusual. This is strange. And they couldn't teach her. They couldn't teach her how to communicate. They couldn't teach her how to think. They couldn't teach her how to talk. The most she could possibly communicate was if she wanted food, she would just kind of gesture towards her mouth, and that was about it. So taking for granted, because at a young age, if you don't create and strengthen these neural pathways of language and thought, and you're not taught how to think, like people take for granted.
I agree with everything you're saying. It's amazing that you're bringing up an example of a girl who was not taught how to think, and not taught how to form concepts, and not taught how to be rational. It's like, yeah, you just drop someone off in the forest. It's a long shot that they'll come up with, thousands of years of logic of of logical developments that taught us how to communicate the way we do. Yeah, she's basically she missed out on education that would have taught her how to do these things. It does, one generation does pass these skills on to the next, but I do believe that all people born with a functioning, more or less functioning brain are capable of learning how to be rational.
Then why didn't she become a capable, rational human being?
It sounds like by the time she was found, it was very hard to teach her these things that most people learn when they're, toddlers and earlier.
They don't learn. They are taught. And that's an important distinction.
So they learn when they're taught.
No, but it goes back to, like, just put your mind in the mindset of someone who is less educated in the Midwest somewhere, or, I don't want to stereotype, but let's just say anywhere in the world. You have an uneducated parents who think, because of their upbringing and because of their pride, they know what's best for their child or their children. And they raise them in a way such that they don't have critical thinking skills, that they aren't taught to think for themselves and come up with their own opinions and that sort of thing. So in a very real sense, that those children have more in common with the girl in the forest than they do with, so-called alleged rational thinking people. Yeah. And by the way, we kind of assume we are, but we don't know any better because we can't measure ourselves.
Hold on, before we get to us, the hillbilly, they are one step closer to a chimpanzee. Essentially, they are one step closer to the wild jungle. They are one step away from being perfectly rational. I'm with you on that. But that person's parents, they could have been more rational if a mixture of them being taught it and them choosing to learn it and them exercising their rational faculty. The fact that some cultures are less rational than others doesn't prove that we're all just predetermined.
Well, you can't. I don't even know how you would even begin to measure qualitatively the rationality of one culture versus another, because you could make an argument. Rationality, first of all, again, is not objective; it's subjective.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, okay. Let me rephrase that, because that didn't make sense.
The language barrier alone is.
Yeah.
It makes us not able to communicate on the same platform.
Yeah, but rationality means adherence to objective reality. That's why a scientist is who conducts experiments. He is being rational. He is putting things in their proper context, and he is not letting his culture and his emotions dictate what's happening. Right. He needs to be rational. That's what rationality is. If another culture somewhere has a different idea of what rationality is, that doesn't alter reality.
No, but you're kind of glossing over the fact that even in the realm of science and rationality, that people can interpret things a different way. If that weren't the case, then science would be unquestionable, because the overwhelming majority of scientists have come to a consensus about global climate change. And yet, we have a very contentious debate, not just in this country, but many countries, because politics starts to get involved, and different scientists very sincerely debate the merits of climate change science. So it's not like we can just say, oh, just be rational. Well, these scientists who have found evidence for global climate change are being rational, and the scientists who are arguing against it are also trying to be rational. So who's right?
Because the cultures that there is a distinction on are irrational. So there's, as in, like, we are very sympathetic towards the animals or whatever that we're trying to protect. Therefore, we are maybe glossing over certain evidence and things that might prove that this is happening. Our culture, for example, is pretty irrational, but there have been cultures that were quote unquote rational, like ancient Greece, which was very philosophical, and they held philosophical debates and all that kind of stuff. Like, I think that is more in line with thinking about objective reality, saying that this is what it is. It can only be this, and my emotions and my sympathy towards everything around it or myself are not going to affect that. Like, right? Is that that's rational, right? Like, well, it's still happening whether I like it or not.
Reality is what it is. And the field of science can be corrupted. The culture of scientists, they can be influenced by politics. They can be influenced by the grants they're getting from the government. Government which really wants them to say that climate change is real, man-made, and bringing mass catastrophe our way. Also, they can be influenced by other departments of the university that tell them what you're saying, which is that rationality can't fully be trusted and that truth is determined by consensus and all these things, that your genetics determine what you're going to see and think. So it's like there's so much that can go into corrupting science, but reality itself is not corruptible. Reality is what it is.
No, you act like there is some objective reality that is distinct from observation.
That's exactly right. Primacy of existence. You're saying primacy of consciousness. You think that your mind creates what's happening around you. I'm saying what's happening around you exists whether you're conscious of it or not.
Well,
how do you know?
Yeah, that's Kant. Kant says everything that is around you, your mind is telling you what's going on, and it's like you're receiving everything. What is that? Is that noumenal? Right?
The noumenal world is it's like Plato's world of forms. It's out there. We don't know anything about it. But Kant, he said
Kant said that. And so what in actuality, like Aristotle says, everything is what it is, and that's all. Like it can only be that. Whether or not your opinions and everything about that are irrelevant, because this table is wood, whether I like it or not. You know what I mean? So I'm not thinking that it's wood. It is.
Yeah, but Dreadmere, what you're taking for granted is your ability to observe. Your ability to retrieve data from the outside world. You're just taking it for granted. You're taking it for granted that the tools that you use are accurate and reliable and exist. You're taking everything for granted.
How are we doing this podcast if our tools aren't reliable and they don't exist?
You can make a case that everything in reality is only accurate to a certain degree. So earlier when I said you could recreate a Rucka Ali by taking a snapshot of his atoms in his body,
wait to see that,
and measure where the exact position of the electrons and recreate them someplace else. Well, there's also this is the debate. This is like science, but it's also there's a debate going on in the scientific fields. Some people would say that due to the Heisenberg uncertainty principle, where you cannot simultaneously know the exact position and the exact speed at which a particle is moving, that you cannot recreate the Rucka. No, it's not skepticism. It's literally a physical.
Know.
It's literally a physical limitation of our universe.
As far as what we can identify, as far as accurate as we can get, there is a lot we can learn from what we can identify. And I just want to say to everyone who agrees with Maddox, all the intellectuals on Reddit, all the neckbeards with the fedoras who, they figured out. You guys act like you're all about science. You guys act like you're the hero champions of knowledge and that religion is wrong. I agree that religion is mystical and wrong, but you guys are the ones that are anti-science. You guys are the ones that are acting like like your mental gymnastics disprove reality. Reality is what it is. It is objective, and we can know it and we can command it.
Yeah,
but first we must obey it.
The guy who's criticizing us for not knowing science, the same guy who a few weeks ago was kind of confused on how the body can determine how to send poop to your butt and pee to your penis. That guy is criticizing us for not knowing science.
I was asking the tough question.
Yeah. All right, well, let's get to some news. Mikey, this is a news that we're having a Mikey Bolts do the news. The Mikey News Bolts. Should we call it that?
Yeah, it's so catchy.
Mikey, what do you got for us?
Eminem launches pop-up restaurant named after a food he vomited.
Slim Shady?
Slim Shady. Right this instant, Detroiters could be visiting what is surely the only pop-up restaurant that is an ode to a food someone threw up. Eminem, in a poorly named attempt to promote his new album, is hosting a Mom's Spaghetti pop-up restaurant at a music venue called The Shelter, the very venue where said vomiting would have occurred.
Is that where it came from? The line is in his famous song,
Mom's Spaghetti.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because he threw up spaghetti one time?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And the co-owner of the restaurant said, it's not the kind of pasta you'd expect if your grandma came from Italy on a boat. It's more like the spaghetti you'd know if your mom came to Michigan on a bus. So.
Jesus Christ. Wow.
So Eminem made a shitty spaghetti restaurant based on this line in his song.
Go ahead, make fun of Detroit while we're on our dying breath.
Yeah, well,
I just thought that was funny. It's not the kind of spaghetti that your mom would make if she came on a door from Puerto Rico. I don't know. That just sounds bad.
Someone did a long time ago on YouTube make a version of that song called the Mom Spaghetti cut, where almost every other line was that Mom Spaghetti, and then
awesome.
then made a YouTube video for it where it's just a bunch of clips of like Olive Garden commercials where they're just like scooping up spaghetti and putting it on the plate. That's very delightful.
So yeah, the memes have taken over now. We've got actual real life restaurants based on memes.
Yeah. I wish that was where it ended. Anyway, good story. What else you got, Mikey?
White women thank themselves for thanking black women today.
Wait, what?
In the hours following the victory of Democrat Doug Jones in the recent Alabama special election, liberal white women across the nation have come out in droves thanking black women for swinging the vote and subsequently thanking themselves for thanking black women. End quote. It's really important that we white women take time to thank black women for overwhelmingly doing the right thing in this election, said Cindy Mullaney of Oklahoma. And once we do, we should thank ourselves for overwhelmingly doing the right thing by thanking those black women. We deserve it.
Well, it's like when Maddox thanked himself for discouraging remarks about Mexicans at his party.
I didn't thank myself. I just dumped the bitch. But here's the thing. That is so condescending. I cannot believe that's an actual headline.
Well, that's
incredibly condescending.
You know what I tweeted this week? You don't have it. You don't have it memorized?
I don't know. I've seen some of your tweets.
You need to know these things.
I saw that you retweet Ruben, which we'll get to in a minute. But what did you tweet this week?
Today's BuzzFeed article will be deemed problematic by tomorrow's BuzzFeed article.
Oh, that's true. It already is. That was actually one of the criticisms I had of BuzzFeed. Not that specifically, but I made this video a long time ago called I Hate BuzzFeed. And I talked about how the entire fucking network doesn't have an editorial point of view. So they'll come out with an article today that says, oh man, these are the best grocery stores of all time. And then they'll come out with an article tomorrow and say something that exactly contradicts what they published the day before. What?
Your incoherence knows no bounds. I think we should have National Geographic come and document your level of out-of-touchness. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
BuzzFeed, when you made that video, was exactly what I'm saying. They were a different, BuzzFeed back then, they were just aggregating crap, and that's what you said in your video. All they do is take other people's lists or whatever. They just take other stuff and they cite themselves. Right, back then they were a news aggregate or a list website. Top 10 things that, Mexican guys tell their moms, Are you with me so far?
Well, they had just started to do journalism. They were hiring journalists around that time, which I didn't really address in the video.
Your video, right. So thanks for finding something to argue about when I'm just stating something very non-controversial.
Go on.
So back then,
yes,
the BuzzFeed you were talking about was a list. It was a list of this, list of that. They had me on one of their lists. One of my Obama videos, it was like top 10 thrift shop parodies.
Right.
All right. Then BuzzFeed became the website of nailing Macklemore to a cross, of saying, oh, this white guy thinks he's allowed to rap, but you're white. And then it became, oh, these white guys think they can judge Macklemore for being a white guy that raps. They're culturally appropriating the black, taking offense to something. And then another BuzzFeed generation came in a month later and said, oh, these white guys think it's okay to get mad at those white guys for getting mad at those guys that are appropriating black culture and everything. The intersectionality became a fucking circus of David Copperfield proportions. Is that what he does? He's into circuses and shit? Not the point right now. But the BuzzFeed you were talking about in 2011 or whenever you made that video, or 2013, is not the same BuzzFeed that BuzzFeed became. So what you were complaining about back then was BuzzFeed just making a list of stupid bullshit, stealing a bunch of other people's lists, and then what BuzzFeed now became is a virtue signaling, moral grandstanding entity of just constantly finding a witch to hunt, finding a sacrificial goat to burn at the altar. And that includes probably lists that BuzzFeed has, they can probably pull up their old articles and fucking crucify their old staff or their current staff for their old articles, because BuzzFeed today, and that's why I said today's BuzzFeed article will be deemed problematic by tomorrow's BuzzFeed article.
Well, they have gotten more towards that end of the spectrum where they are, becoming virtue signaling, SJWE, they have gone there. But my video wasn't just one criticism of BuzzFeed's aggregation. It was the criticism of their aggregation, the criticism of their content theft. They weren't giving credit to any of the creators and they were just taking the content, and also that they didn't have an editorial point of view. I mean, you can look at the voting demographic of women or the entire collective that voted against Roy Moore, and you can single out any one group that voted for your party that won and then say, oh, we thanked them, thank us for thanking them. It's collectively all the votes added up to get more unelected, right? And then they're just choosing the black people because they want to be seen as like, oh, hey, we're throwing a bone to black.
Except last year it would have been perfectly fashionable to publish an article thanking black women for voting a certain way.
I would hope not.
Like something Maddox would say. Anyway, next story.
Don't do these fucking drive-by.
Ding, I heard
that was
ding.
not an intentional ding.
Strike it from the record?
Yeah, strike that ding from the record. What else you got, Mikey?
Jeremy Curley, he is a wide receiver for the New York Jets. He failed a drug test and blamed it on a ghost.
He blamed his drug test on a ghost?
True story.
Hey, man, who knows, bro? You can't trust objective, rational faculties. Who knows if there are ghosts or not, bro? This is science talking, not me. Did you know Isaac
That's
Asimov?
not science, shithead.
You know Isaac
Fucking ad
Asimov
hominem
won many
fuck.
awards?
Yeah, you dumb shit. You were making the case that he was like a fucking hipster douchebag and like just like sitting around
I was
coffee
saying
shops.
he is
Like,
that,
whoa,
I was
man.
saying your appeal to authority doesn't work.
It wasn't an
doesn't
appeal
prove
to
a point.
your ad hominem attack is just as bad as my ad hominem support.
Listen,
it's the same fucking thing.
I'm revered by Asimov's academic achievements, but that doesn't mean he was right all the time.
No, but that was directly addressing your criticism of him being like some hipster sitting around in a coffee shop. He wasn't a fucking hipster sitting around in a coffee shop. He's a respected fucking science fiction author who has moved forward the philosophy of artificial intelligence.
Wow.
You've moved forward.
What
jack
a
shit.
wonderful legacy. The philosophy of artificial intelligence.
You've only moved forward the little time indicator on this YouTube video of people watching right now because of your bloviating.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm trying to bloviate us into the next fucking series of YouTube ads.
Great. Well, speaking of, Mikey, any other stories?
One last thing.
Yeah.
He said, there's a lot of ghosts around here. Ghosts put it in there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the ghost of Christmas past. I don't know.
You know what? We laugh, but this has actually come up in a court case on.
There's a but, yeah.
No, there's a court case. I think so. The people, you know, the movie The Amityville Horror, and I think there's another movie that is based on. It's based on a true story, right? The person who owns that story claims that they didn't ever, because it's a true story, you can't make a movie about it. Or something like that, and so whatever studio got the rights to that movie,
Conjuring, right?
The Conjuring, that's what it is. I think whatever studio got the rights to that now has to prove that ghosts do exist in order to make the claim that the Amityville Horror, or that the Conjuring was based on a true story.
Right.
Anyway, any other stories, Mikey Bolts?
No.
All right, thank you very much.
I mean, I don't know if ghosts exist or not. According to Maddox, all we know, our consciousness creates reality around us. So if that guy believes in ghosts, maybe they do
Rocka,
exist.
You're such an absolutist. Just because.
Do you absolutely disbelieve in ghosts, or are you open-minded about this?
I mean, there's no evidence of ghosts. That's the bottom line.
Well, hold on? Why does the standard of evidence? Why does that's so absolute? You're such an absolutist suddenly.
No.
Look.
So
you
just
are?
because you sometimes have varying degrees.
I love how you're talking down to me like,
where'd you find this dumb guy? Nobody
right.
asks these questions. Everyone just knows the truth because they read the same Reddit article I did.
I don't fucking read Reddit's
good
garbage.
Stay off that
Good.
fucking shit.
Anyway, guys, one last thing before we close out this episode. We just need to talk about the voting from last week.
Aw, shit.
So we talked about whether or not genetic modification in humans is ethical. And with 79% of the vote, people voted yes.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Good.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, this could. I've always said it could go a bad way. Listen, anything that can cause mass destruction
should.
That's all I'm saying.
And then I asked another question last week because we were talking about genetic modification and being able to breed people who look really good.
Yeah.
So I asked the following question. I said, do you think it's possible to be more attractive than Maddox? Yours truly. And with 74%, the audience voted yes. Wrong answer.
Maybe they meant like you can be cloned with like extra Maddox.
That's impossible. I'm the most Maddox there is.
Wow, such an absolutist.
Yes.
Get the fuck out of here. All right,
74%.
Dreadmere. Thank you again for joining us. Anything you'd like to plug?
Yeah, you can find me on YouTube, youtube.com/Dreadmere.
He just started doing he did this commentary video.
Yeah.
Drama Doctor, it's called.
Drama Doctor.
Solid. I've always said the Viners, they get YouTube better than the rest of us.
Dreadmere's sketches are hilarious, and also on Instagram too. So we'll link to all your social as well. And Rucka, before we go, one last thing. Your Reuben Report episode finally came out. I was going to link to it on last week's episode, but he decided to save it for Friday because he wanted to save the best for last. He wanted to save the heavy hitter, right?
Yeah.
And anything you want to add? You how do you feel about your
Had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
At the time of very high intensity. Some people commented like, "Oh, is this guy on Adderall?" I really like that. I like that people thought I was on Adderall.
Yeah, people always think that the source of creativity, intelligence, rationality, being well-spoken comes from a substance. That's not the case, dipshits.
It can be unlocked naturally.
Yeah.
So hang out with me, guys, and let's go on a little journey.
I actually liked your tweet where you said the exact same thing. Anyway, guys, thank you again to Dreadmere for joining us.
Hell yeah.
Thank you to Mikey Bolt, Swagmaster.
Thank you, Maddox.
Thank you to the Maharaja of Moderation, Rucka Ali.
Hell yeah.
But most of all, you're welcome.
You know what's the worst movie? The original Star Wars. Turned it on for 10 minutes. Was like, this is terrible. Turned it off.
Yeah, while everyone's busy hating on the new Star Wars, Weird Matthew McConaughey is hating on the universally acclaimed, which I know doesn't mean anything to you, Rucka.
I mean, it does kind of drag out for that first, half hour.
Yeah.
It's like, get to the point.
That's funny. He just, started looking into it. He's like, oh, fine. It's 20 years later. Jesus Christ. Let's see what this is all about.
I think
robots.
I think as somebody who watches Star Wars for the first time, the original 3 still hold up, right? They're still decent movies.
You just have to know that you have some work to put in if you really want to get into Star Wars.
Yeah.
Because movies from that era, even if they are legendary, are just slow.
Which really bolsters my argument that you can watch movies out of sequence because he released episodes 6, 7, and 8 and then went back.
He doesn't even watch one movie in sequence. He just watches parts of it.
All right, here's another. This is a correction.
Maddox, you dumb fuck. Ebola was not airborne. You're so fucking stupid.
Yeah, I was gonna play the dumbass music, but then I looked it up and he's right.
Yeah, I remember you brought up Ebola as some sort of argument about something.
Yeah,
it must have not been a very good argument.
No, it was a really good argument. Yeah, no one remembers your Tetris shit, but we had a correction about that too.
Tetris?
Yeah.
Oh.
You see?
Oh yeah.
We should debate if Ebola's bad or not.
Let the people decide.
What do you think, man?
I had a suggestion on the Madcast Media Facebook page by a fan. He said, "Hey Maddox, you should have a round table discussion on the merits of Hitler or something like that."
Wow.
Real shitty suggestions from our fans.
Hey there. Don't forget to subscribe to Madcast shows on iTunes, Stitcher, or your favorite podcast app. Okay, bye. Madcast Media Network.